Evening, everybody. Hope everyone's doing wonderfully well. All right, we'll start the pre-market scans real quick. Couple things to note about the labor market. We did have, let me just make sure this mic is working. All right, we seem to have sound. Perfect, perfect. So yeah, we did get some couple data sets in the labor market. We got the unemployment rate, which actually upticked a little bit from 4.5 to 4.6. And then you also got non-farm payrolls. So a little bit of mixed data across the board in the U.S. employment market, with non-farm payrolls coming in much better than expected, producing another 14,000 jobs. But the unemployment rate's still upticking. So mixed data set. Initially, the dollar and yields collapsed, and they've rebounded since. You still got weakness on the short end of the curve. And the long end of the curve is holding up a little bit more resilient. So if we look at what transpired there, you can see the US dollar ended up dipping, seeing a nice hard reversal off of the lows, trying to put in, did it put in an hour? A little bit of an hourly doji candle. It is pretty oversold down here, and there is definitely a lot of support. What I'm watching for is in the next couple hours, does this put in a 4-hour bottoming tail for the US Dixie? If it does put in a 4-hour bottoming tail, it likely means we're going to press back to that 98 area. But again, we'll see how it reacts intraday. Okay. The US 2-year yield did gap down initially, and then it got bought up. So you can see the 2-year yield is also trying to show some resiliency down here. It's just one big chop fest on the daily chart. Obviously, it looks like it's trying to put an inverse head and shoulders. It tried breaking out here, failed. Tried breaking out here, failed. Tried breaking out here, failed. So it seems like this is kind of the level, this little trend line that you want to be accumulating your bonds at. I don't think we're going to be breaking out in yields. Obviously, we haven't had any inflation data. We're set to get inflation data CPI come Thursday, which will be the November data set. So we're still a little bit behind. But nevertheless, bonds right now are still showing some signs of life as yields are getting collapsed. You can see the 10-year yield is still arguably the more stronger and important yield to watch. This one's a little bit trickier, guys, because the long end of the curve is doing things much, much different than the short end of the curve. So we got to watch that very, very closely as we progress in this next phase of the market, I like to call it. All right, crude oil still getting hammered here. WTI crude breaking to the downside. I've tried telling people avoid crude oil. Natural gas also getting smashed yet again. Another day where it's down 4.3%. Oh my goodness gracious me, you're now into the gap. But look at that free fall. So what I'm personally seeing, guys, in the market, the way commodities are selling specifically in the energy sector and market, I mean, it looks to be we're selling like this is almost entering a recession in 2026. The way commodities are free falling, specifically in the energy sector, I mean, this is some troublesome price action. Energy is showing us that we could be entering a demand destruction. Remember, energy is one of the more forward-looking indicators of the economy. There's a lot of lagging indicators like the data that we got this morning, the unemployment rate, the jobs number, CPI, that's all lagging. What's forward-looking, in my opinion, is crude oil, is natural gas, is uranium, is wheat, cocoa, lumber, copper, but specifically crude oil. It's your biggest commodity out there. So nothing really works without WTI crude or US oil. And right now US oil is basically testing now. It's looking like crude oil by the end of the year is going to give us a new 52-week low. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But this pattern on crude just failed. A lot of people were calling a bit of a bull flag here, tried bouncing, but this is a failure. This is a big time failure breakdown pattern. I mean, it's not looking healthy at all for WTI crude. And honestly, this little support zone, we could even take out that by a pretty long margin And why I say that is because we built a multi-week kind of bear flag pattern here. And realistically speaking, I mean, the next major support area that I see is coming down to this zone here. Testing this wide range green bar breakout candle. 1, 2, 3 bounces before you had your waterfall COVID sell-off. So crude oil probably is going to be going down to about 51.50 with this sell-off, guys. So that's a bit of a bearish undertone in the commodity market, that's for sure. Alrighty, let's see what else we can discuss real quick. XAU. Will be 9/11, so we got 20 minutes till the open. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so silver is still holding some technical strength at the highs, trying to consolidate. Still very stretched. It did take a pretty big dip intraday. Silver's got a pretty wide trading range today. It does appear that it's trying to put in an inverted head and shoulders. I'm not really believing this inverse head and shoulders. I think silver has topped. You know, maybe you get one more sweep of the high, but I think silver's topped, personally speaking here. Especially with the unemployment rate set to uptick here. But I would look for failure of this inverse head and shoulders. So you might get one more little attempt at a breakout through the neckline. But I think silver has personally topped. Gold, on the other hand, gold still looks like it can maybe push and try to sweep the highs one more time, and then I think it rolls over. But I think gold's going to be chopping inside this new trading range. It needs to digest this gain. You know, the move that gold has had in the last 12 to 24 months is way outside of its trading parameters and range. And usually when gold has that big of a move, it starts to digest it in a big way. So I think gold needs to consolidate for at least another 3 months. But we'll see what happens. We will certainly see what happens. All right, Bitcoin, BTC. So BTC is also vulnerable. This is now trying to form a bit of a bear flag pattern, and you're on the precipice of breaking down. So BTC has kind of one more little line in the sand, and it's kind of this previous little gap fill, bounce pivot. But this bear flag is looking more and more likely as the days pass to start to trigger. I would have expected BTC to at least make it back to 97K, if not higher, but wow, it is just flailing around here. And obviously, we've seen a lot of posts around the X community saying that BTC has kind of hit its cycle top, multi-year cycle high, and now we're going through a multi-year bear market. So that's certainly a possibility. I still would think that BTC could bounce a little bit, but we'll just have to trade the pattern. If you start to lose this pivot and you create yet again another lower low, this bear flag doesn't leave you much confidence. I mean, you simply just measure that and look at that downside, 67. There'll be some stops along the way, but nasty price action in some of these asset classes, guys. Really, really nasty. All right, stocks that are shaking and moving today. Let's see what else we got. Again, the market's still looking somewhat bearish intraday. Let's just pull up this. PayPal's trying to hatch another little bounce. I think PayPal is going to be one of those stocks into the end of the year or 2026, early 2020, that's going to get a bounce. Severely, severely undervalued here, in my opinion. I think it's going to be one of those January plays that you get a big move to the upside. You might get a little bit more weakness here into the end of the year, but come January or approaching January, it's going to catch probably a decent sized bid here. What else we got going on? Just scrolling through. ACN, guys, is catching a nice little bid, trying to break out of its ascending triangle bull flag pattern. New little high here. ACN looking pretty solid. So we did put that one on your radar quite a while ago when we were buying it down here around that 230 area. But ACN's moving quite well. You know, we did quite a bit of research. We put in their EPS growth. We told you why they were collapsing down here on some one-time net restructuring costs. That cost them about 865 million. Once that Wall Street shook that off, the stock absolutely ripped. Very, very solid company, so to speak. But ACN, nice trade if you're long with us. We still have half the position on the 300 calls for June of next year. We obviously took our first trim of half the position for 102% gain, but I'm still riding half the position, and it's beautiful to see this gapping up this morning. Really, really solid gap up. Marijuana stocks giving up some of the gains. What else we got going on? Quantum's mix. You got QBTS flat, IonQ's green, Rigetti mixed. MicroStrategy trying to bounce a little bit here. Rocket Labs another couple percent to the downside. So RKLB has had a pretty solid fall. So we've nailed Rocket Labs, guys. We caught pretty much this whole move up, took our profits, and we shorted Rocket Labs with some $55 puts. We took that trade off of the table yesterday, but a nice decline on Rocket Labs. I do have some long levels that I'm looking at, but just a little bit lower, and I'd start building into a little bit of position, start using some of those profits that we made on the upside trade to build into a new position. All right. Laser, guys, is still severely depressed down here. Had a big intraday spike yesterday. It is green in the pre-market right now. We obviously gave that long alert to go long off that 30-cent level. I'm still holding my common shares as a lotto. I hold just over 5,000 shares at 30 cents, so it's just over a grand in the position. Again, that is a lotto. Okay. What else we got going on? We got Humana. Let's look at some of these healthcare stocks. HUM. Humana this morning gapping down. Pretty big gap down on HUM. Let's look at CNC. Under a little bit of pressure. UNH. UNH looks pretty decent here, guys. I would still love for a dip down, but I mean, UNH might be one of those ones that catches some fat candles in the new year, Q1 2026. So that's another one that's on my radar for some interesting potential bullish price action. UNH. We'll watch that closely. Oscar. Not doing much. How's HIMS? HIMS is looking pretty bearish down here, guys, so just protect that if you're long. Roku seeing some strength today. Nice little gap up there. Tandem Diabetes, ticker TNDM. Seeing some strength. This one looks like it's going to press to sweep this 2550 rejection gap zone. But TNDM looking pretty solid, guys. A nice little potential breakout pattern here. We're very close to entering that gap window, which sucks us to a magnet zone of 3350 gap fill. So TNDM looking pretty decent. Interesting. Let's look at GitLabs here. GTLB. This stock, you know, the earnings report, when I read it, wasn't that bad, but looking like it wants to break down here. Quite crazy. But honestly, guys, the most important chart right now, and this is more macro, is this one. Funny enough, eh? Most people are sleeping on this 10 and 2 spread. Sleepy, up another 2.39% today. Whoa, weekly chart bull flag. This is one of the most bullish charts in the stock market, guys. one of the most bullish charts in the stock market. You know, the last time we hit this range, the high, we had our tariff sell-off. Now we're breaking out of that range. And what is the market going to do? What is the market going to do? It's a bit of a problem. This chart is a bit of a problem. Beautiful though. Clean breakout on the daily. Super clean. Weekly chart setting up for a confirmed breakout, but wow. Pretty cool. Pretty cool bond market signals. Those are the signals that get me excited as an investor. All right, let's actually look at the SPX chart here. Intraday, guys. SPX. Anyone know what pattern this is? This is a descending triangle. So statistically, this has a higher probability of breaking to the downside. Now, you might get a little bit of a peekaboo, try to attempt to break out, but statistically, this is a bearish pattern on the S&P. Okay, just keeping it simple. That's it. Bearish pattern on the S&P. All right, let's go back to that SPY. Once the market opens, we will pull some of that data in the SPX group. We'll pull those dark pool prints, call walls, put walls, etc. So far, the S&P is looking somewhat bearish here, guys. And honestly, I mean, the way SPY is consolidating here, we could be in for a bit of a flusher. Still have that symmetrical target on watch. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to rip the band-aid off this market and flush us. I would not be surprised at that. Gold and silver ripping. So right now in the pre-market, guys, your IWM is your weakest indice. Let's just go look at the Russell real quick before we open. The IWM gapping down this morning, looking pretty heavy here on the Russell. You got a massive head and shoulders pattern that has honestly triggered. And now you need to watch for a confirmed break below that. So I really don't like when the pattern gaps down through the neckline, but if this head and shoulders triggers, guys, you know, we got another couple percent down on the Russell 2000. We're looking at a 244.76 potential target on the IWM, which would be pretty crazy. Hourly chart, you can obviously see we tried making a massive squeeze through that double top. Huge, huge, huge short covering push. You can see the liquidity on the daily chart. So you did get a confirmed breakout on the daily, but what's more important, guys, is the weekly chart, right? As of today, there's no confirmed break on the weekly chart. It's looking like more of a failed double top. So the Russell 2000, very, very interesting, but vulnerable, very vulnerable, super vulnerable. Let's see. It's still the open, and we are set for initially some bearish price action. The market is looking very troublesome here, in my opinion. Right, 2 minutes, guys, 2 minutes. So far, you got Tesla down 0.64, Meta down 0.82, Google struggling down 1.1, Apple slightly negative down 0.45, Nvidia is green slightly, Microsoft down 0.5%, Amazon slightly green. Right now, your S&P is outperforming your Qs. Qs are outperforming your Russell, and your Russell is your heaviest indice on the session. So get ready for a gap down, guys. We look like we're going to take out the lows from that Friday sell-off. Very, very bearish. Next support for me is around 677. We will pull some of that data off of the open. We'll adjust our opening range low candles once we get our 10-minute candle. But so far, markets are looking very, very bearish. We have some descending triangles on SPX. We got some head and shoulders patterns on the Russell. Markets are open. A big face ripping candle off the open. Big face ripping candle. VIX is slightly green. Crypto stocks acting well. MSTR up 2.2. Mara trying to show some strength. Big bounce on your S&P 500. Really big bounce. Amazon showing some strength. QQQ trying to go green. SPY trying to go green. Dollar getting faded. $680.24 is that value area low on SPY. You got natural gas trying to firm up. Bitcoin doing quite well. Tesla down 1. Nvidia's flat. Amazon showing some strength, guys. Webull showing some strength. Rigetti showing some strength. Datavolt, MSTR, crypto acting very well. IONQ, so quantum showing some strength. Interesting. Big bounce still in the market. Natural gas trying to show some signs of life here at the lows. SPY, QQQ, IWM still weak. SPYs are strongest still, but Qs are trying to close the distance. IWM still your weakest, but also bouncing quite nicely. Markets still look somewhat vulnerable here, guys. We're still stuck under value area low. Tesla drilling to the downside. WBD, Nvidia is now negative. Riley Financial, that's up 19.62%. Wow. RILY. Crazy mover. Starbucks, Chipotle, a lot of rotation back into your consumer staples. Still seeing some strengthening, some consumer discretionary, except Tesla's heavy today. It was strong yesterday. Gold and silver ripping again. You're seeing some nice accumulation in quantum names, guys. Quantum stocks are ripping. Rocket Lab's down another couple percent. Mara is still holding steady. VIX, your UVXY is still green. Markets, I still think it flush to the 677.69. So in our SPX trading group, we just took about 18% gain on some 679 puts on SPY. Very quick. I think this value area low can still be shorted. Nvidia selling hard, down 0.5 now. Google down 1.1. Tesla getting wrecked today, down 1.7. JP Morgan's negative. Microsoft, Amazon went negative. Qs are now your underperforming, guys. NASDAQ is seeing some heavy sell side. We could still be flushing down here on the market. We could flush down. Natural gas trying to firm up here off the 370 zone. S&P again, I still think there's a shortable trade on your S&P 500. Value area low. Call wall and SPY 682, put wall 680. Interesting. So that's why 680's seeing a big fight, because there's quite a bit of support there from the put wall. Amazon's firming up here. Very strong price action in Broadcom, AVGO. Again, nasty rejection off that value area low still, guys. Nasty rejection. Your S&P 500 is still in bearish environment. Very bearish. We have a bear flag on SPY, a descending triangle on SPX. So right now we're on the precipice of seeing another flush down. You're just getting some of those people trying to defend prior day low. Notoriously, buying a gap down is very lucrative. Still got some strength in crypto related stocks as BTC is pushing up 1% now. You've had Meta turn green, Tesla's catching a nice bid. Dark pool still 681.78, same as yesterday. 681.78. S&P, I still think can break the lows, guys. We see 677 potentially. YS is shorting AMD and Apple today. Good luck. Good luck. Yeah, Apple's looking nasty for sure. Head and shoulders. Big breakdown. Yep. Yeah, we looked at this yesterday and I said Apple was also looking pretty nasty. So that's a nice, definitely a nice trade. AMD. AMD is tricky because you got some strength in AVGO trying to bounce here a little bit. Semis are trickier. Apple, I agree with. AMD, I'd be very careful with that one. But if the market falls, this one could obviously fall. I'm seeing a bit of a potential falling wedge here on AMD, so just be careful of that one. That one's a tougher short in my opinion. It has been beaten up a little bit more than some other stocks recently. I think that AMD could still retest the 7 and then see rejection. But again, if the market tumbles, that one should also tumble. It's definitely got a bit of an H pattern, but they love saving AMD. Gold and silver still pushing. Natural gas seeing some strength, guys. S&P rolling here. All right, so we got our first 10-minute candle. We got our OR low. We got our OR high, guys. So anything in this range is technically one big chop fest. If we approach the OR high, I would short it off of that area. If we fall below OR low, you can go for a quick trend continuation down to 678, 677.70. For me, it's a no touch in here as the market wants to chop around and lure in investors on both sides of the trade. But for now, we're still looking pretty bearish, guys. We are looking very bearish. Market's giving us some lower lows. This candle close here, guys, on the 10-minute chart that we just got, that's our lowest 10-minute candle close really in all of this price action. So the market is giving us lower lows and lower highs intraday. So we're bearish. For sure we're bearish. Look at that breakdown. Nastiness. Absolute filthy. Filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy. Look at that big nasty bear breakdown. Gnarly. Lots of red starting to appear on screen. Even financials, which were strong yesterday, are starting to give up the goods. I like it. I like it a lot. That S&P 500 is getting wrecked. Here we go. This could be a bloodbath today, guys. I mean, the way we're set up, we have had a lot of bearish consolidation intraday here on SPY. This could be a bloodbath. We are melting, guys. We are melting. Next support on your SPX is going to be your 20-day moving average sitting at 67.83 and change. 67.83 and change is your 20-day moving average on SPX, guys. This is turning into a bloodbath. Your IWM still underperforming in a very, very large way. Still have some strength in Webull, Snapchat, Bitfarms, Mara, Rigetti, Rocket Labs, Meta, MSCR, Datavolt, Consumer Staples, Kraft Heinz, Quantum still doing well. That's really, again, another, wow, Canopy Growth up 10.84%, guys. CGC making a nice move yet again, still seeing heavy accumulation. Very cool. Mega Cap Tech under quite a bit of pressure this morning, yet again. S&P melting. Look at that S&P 500, guys. It is melting. So that's what we prepared our group, our SPX trading group we put on in the pre-market. We discussed some of the bearish patterns that were at play. S&P 500 is still looking pretty weak here, but they might try to give it a little bit of a facelift back inside this opening range. I still think the SPX is on track for its 20-day moving average, so we're looking like we're in a short to pop mode, guys. Any significant pops in the market I think can be shorted. Still have some strength across some of those higher beta names, MSTR, Rocket Labs, Rigetti, IONQ, Datavolt having a strong day. Marijuana stocks are still showing some signs of life. What do we got? NVIDIA only down 0.4%. Oof, look at this melt. We are melting. Will they take us back to the gap fill? That is a question. Wouldn't mind seeing that. You know, with the amount of green still on the screen today, this could be a significant bloodbath. If they start taking the if they start taking some of those stocks that are green red. I mean, we're gonna see a blood. Oh, all sectors are getting smoked here, guys, except for retail. Be careful. This is getting ugly here. This is getting heavy. All right, we've hit that symmetrical move. There is some support here, but we're still off of daily chart support. We are getting ugly in the market here, guys. There's definitely some support here, but we could still take out the low after we do some consolidation. All sectors are red except for XRT. All right, so we hit that symmetrical move. Definitely a lot of support there. As you can see, we're bouncing off of that wick. But I still think SPX at least wants to sweep this bullish candle and tag this 20 days. So we got to wait to see what type of pattern we get here off of this zone. But I still think that this pop, it might be a pretty big one off of this area, but I still think we can short it down again. Let's see what happens. So don't be surprised if they give us a really big push. Even back to value area low, they could push this market back to. Let's see what happens here, guys. Dollar getting faded, gold, silver still strong, Bitcoin coming in, Amazon still green, Meta still green, Nvidia just turning green, Microsoft, Apple, Google pretty weak on the session. Big bounce candle. Look at that. It's exactly what we were discussing literally 10 seconds ago. I think the shortable area is going to kind of be off of this value area low or high, guys. Look at that big bounce. Big bounce. Huge bounce. Stick save. Stick save. You got to be a sniper with your entries and exits. Wow, that's a huge bounce. Now, we're back inside this opening range, guys. The technical short level is basically back to our opening range high gap fill. They may even try to push us back to this dark pool print. That would not surprise me at all. But shorts should technically be shorted still. Dollar still fading. Your UVXY still positive on the session. QQQ did go green, guys, so your NASDAQ is seeing a little bit of strength through mega cap tech. So Qs are showing some signs of life and fight. SPX is still battleground here. Value area low has changed a little bit, 680.28. A lot of resistance at your OR high, value area low. We're still in bearish environment, even with this big reversal and bounce. Market is still very bearish. Through high, guys. If you're an aggressive trader, you can short this level. If you're in a very aggressive trader, you can short this level on SPY. Understand that it's risky as this is a really big bullish bounce. The S&P is trying to go green. I'm personally going to wait for this dark pool print. I might fade it off of that area. This is the zone that I'm looking at on SPY. I'd take 682 puts, but a lot of resistance here in the market, and we're still bearish. Even with this big bounce, we are still pretty bearish. Cabin saying markets are going to rip. Opening range high, value area low, still seeing some rejection in the market, guys. 680.28 is your value area low. That's a big level for the market. Point of control for the week is at 683.14 on your SPY. Still seeing some pretty decent rejection here. Look at that rejection wick, guys. That is filthy. Filthy. We're still got a lot of nasty price action under the hood of the market, guys. The positive for the market, yeah, SPY battling the call wall at 681. Yep, yep, it is. Positive for the market is you got energy still weak. You got the dollar curling down. Yields have turned back to the negative side. QQQ still green, SPY negative, Russell negative, Amazon green, Microsoft negative slightly, Nvidia up 0.3, Apple down 0.3, Google up 0.2, Meta having a nice day up 0.7, Tesla's green up 0.48. Still have some weakness in financials. Again, I'm looking at shorting the S&P 500 off of this trend line. I'm just being patient. I would let it do a little bit of a pierce through that trend line, but there's definitely quite a bit of resistance there. Still a lot of resistance here, but I prefer the wedge pattern, the high of the wedge. A few more sectors are turning green, guys, on the session, with mega cap tech trying to push here. Your VIX is getting faded, so the market's trying to battle here. Big battleground for the market. Crypto stocks still acting well. Carvana showing some strength, flexing some muscles. Rocket Lab, Brigetti still showing strength. IONQ strength. CGC up almost 11%. Goog is squeezing and you are shorting. Yeah, the market's showing some resiliency right now, guys. So yeah, Google making that red to green reversal. Very strong. You know, you look at Amazon, Amazon's trying to make a red to green reversal. Apple trying to make a red to green reversal. You've got Nvidia making a red to green reversal. Patterns are trying to show a little bit of strength. You've got Microsoft, so the NASDAQ is trying to lift this market by the scruff of its neck. Kevin's saying, here we go. Yeah, there's a big push that potentially is about to happen here. We were trying to get a 10-minute close through our opening range high here, so that would be a little bit of a short-term bullish signal. I'm going to look at 682 puts, guys, 0DT off of this trend line, or a pierce of this trend line. You got silver now coming in a little bit. Natural gas still weak, BTC still 0.8. What else you got? Okta having a good day. Dollar going for the lows. DXY flailing down to the lows. MSTR having a decent day. Enphase, that's having a really good day. Affirm up 6.5%. AFRM, wow. XYZ up almost 2%. Good day. AMD's green. ARM still down 2.5%. Markets are still trying to push. Roku's still green. Jumia up 8.2. Nice day there. S&P 500 is trying to hold through that value area low and opening range high. This is a big close in the next 20 seconds for the market. Lots of green on the screen and lots of red on the screen. That's a mixed bag, but so far markets have rebounded quite nicely. That symmetrical move acting as a very big area. All right, positive 10-minute candle close for the markets, guys. We are slowly trying to flip from bearish to bullish here. I still think we can go lower. We're still printing lower highs and lower lows in the market. But I want to short the extreme. Although this is a decent area, mega cap tech trying to push here is making me just be patient, personally speaking. So you can see we came very close to hitting that 20-day on SPX. Very close. You know, you might get a bounce to the 7-day, which is at 253, but I don't think so. Technically, it's a short underneath prior day low. Wow, you still have quite a bit of interest at 675 for SPY puts. All right, so harsh rejection through value area low and opening range high, guys. This market's now in trouble. They're going to sell this liquidity. We are looking once again extremely bearish. That is a filthy, filthy rejection, guys. Filthy. I mean, 10-minute candle closed through value area low, opening range high would be bullish, but it never confirmed. Nasty rejection. Here we go. We could easily take out the lows. We posted earlier in our S&P 500 trading group that there's a huge amount of interest, guys, on the 675 puts for SPY. Huge amount. Put GEX 1.2 million, call GEX 534. Wow. 675 on SPY. Let's just pull up this daily chart of SPY. That takes you down to your 50-day. Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. Cabin saying added 20 cons to 683 calls. Wow. Bullish. Bullish. Good luck. Easy peasy. Still think we can take out this low, guys. Market is very bearish. Very bearish. Again, we got that lower 10-minute candle close in all of this chop. When we go to the 20-minute chart, nope, that was also your lowest 20-minute candle close since this Monday candle. We'll see. They need to recapture that opening range high to kind of flip us a little bit more bullish, but so far, market's still struggling. Even with mega cap tech bouncing here, still looking somewhat vulnerable. UVXY getting somewhat faded here. Quantum still showing some strength. Canopy growth still showing some strength. Big push here in the market. Your QQQ is leading the charge, guys. Mega cap tech is turning green. Meta, Tesla, Google ripping, Nvidia ripping, Amazon ripping. So they're lifting this market. They are lifting this market higher. Let's see if we get a 10-minute hanging man candle on SPY. Big push. Cabin saying here we go. Mega cap tech still moving. See if we get rejection here. Mega cap tech seeing a little bit of selling now. Will they take the cues back to the dark side? We still have some bearish price action, guys. It's a big battleground. We're still under opening range, value area low. It's over. Roll us over. Come on. Take us down. Puts are printing, guys. Come on. Still trying to defend S&P. We're back testing that Friday low, guys. Big area. Big area. They're still just chopping us around. Financials are still struggling a little bit. 100% on our SPY puts, guys. Members in the SPX trading group, almost up 100%. We shorted that big push on that 10-minute candle. Come on, push is lower. New low of day. Come on. Come on. New low of day. Rip us back down. Push us back down here. We're still struggling, guys. We are still struggling here in the market. Silver seeing some more selling. Gold seeing some top wicks. You got natural gas new lows. Your dollar's trying to get a little bit of a bid here. Come on, flush us. Flush us down. Again, I'm writing 677 puts, SPY 0 DTE. I entered at 52 cents. Contracts are now at 91 cents. We're going to be pushing up 100% here. My stop is already at break even. Trade is risk free for me. I want to see them flush this market. So anyone in the S&P group, my first profit target, guys, I'll sell half of my 677 puts. If we get a flush through this opening range low, a nice impulse candle through OR low, I'll look to trim half. Should be up 100% on these contracts. So again, anyone in the S&P group, a flush through opening range low, I'm going to look to trim half of the contracts. And then we'll keep the runners on the table in case we get a big flush to that 677 target. I think 677 could get hit. Let's look at where this QQQ almost negative, guys. Qs are almost going back to the dark side. Dollar still trying to bounce, but it's still underneath its pre-market levels. S&P still struggling here. Google back to the dark side. Come on, knife us through that opening range. Alright guys, I just trimmed half of my SPY puts through that opening range, 1.06. Nice 102% gain. Beautiful. Alright, now trade is risk free. Look at these. These are printing. Crazy. 677 SPYs are printing, guys. Look at that. $16, 110%. Let's push it. Look at the knife, guys. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful knife through that area. My next target on SPY, guys, if we flush into this symmetrical low pivot again, that's where I'll look to close all of my SPY puts. So a nice hard flush, but you were warned. Again, we took a couple different trades there. We took spreads on SPX and SPY, and then we also took some 677 0DT SPY puts off of that 10-minute push, and that printed $1.28. Boom. Come on, a little bit lower. Flush this market. New lows. Give it to us. Give it to us. Who? Push it. Push it down. Come on. You might get a little bit of a bounce, but we should try to take out the lows. This market's still looking pretty filthy. Pretty filthy. I got nasty sell signals on pretty much everything here across different time frames. Short time frames, hourly time frames. 4 hour time frame, daily time frame just gave me a big sell signal as well, guys. Oh, wow. Believe it or not, SPY today, my measured move down could take us to 676, guys. 676 could take us down. Here we go. Contracts are still ripping to the downside here. Nasty, nasty, nasty decline, guys. Nasty decline. Come on, give us a new low of day. Come on, give me a new low of day. That is yet again another bearish 10-minute candle close. It's our lowest close on SPY in all of this bearish consolidation, guys. Another lower low close on SPY. Lower lows, lower highs. The trend intraday is extremely, extremely bearish. All right, guys, I'm looking at taking profits here. All right, I'm all out of my SPY put options, guys. $1.36 all out. Boom. All out of my SPY 677 puts. Hundred and 60% gain. All right, good job, guys. Good job. Boom. Boom, boom is right. And I still think we can go lower, guys. I'm just taking my profits and running. Again, my max downside move today is 676. That's what I have. 676 is my downside move today. And I mean, it seems a little conservative because the chart pattern is still setting up for much, much lower, but crazy. Crazy, crazy trading session. Look at that. What a nice short, guys. Off of that opening range high, value area low, boom. Free fall. Beautiful. Beautiful to see. Look at that new low of day. You can even get a better exit than me. $1.54. These contracts are ripping. Holy moly. What a sell side candle, guys. That is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. You can risk some longs here, but just keep your stops tight if you're wanting to trade this zone because it's super risky. It just does not want to bounce. All right, guys, so we did warn you about this decline in the market, so everyone should have been able to basically trade this with success today. Um, it's one of those things where you just got to trust the patterns. We had lower highs, lower lows. You had descending patterns, descending triangles. So we're getting close to a potential bounce, I would say that, but things are definitely downright dirty. All right, we're piercing the 20-day moving average on SPX. That is filthy. Absolutely filthy, guys. What a decline. 677 puts. Oh my goodness, if I held runners. Holy, look at the drill session, guys. Look at the drill session in the market. Holy moly. That is just filthy. That is crazy. All right, there's definitely some longs here, guys. That could work out here. If you're aggressive, 677 SPY calls could work out here. I might take them. Let me see what they're worth. If we push down one more time, guys, I'm going to look for some SPY 677 zeros. Calls. Look at that. This is a disgusting tape, guys. Absolutely filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy move down, guys. Big daily chart support areas. Markets are giving up the goods here. Nasty rejection in Spyland. QQQ, IWM, everything. You got banks coming in hard. Silver coming down. Gold seeing some sell side now. Some calls there. 677 calls did go in the money. I'm all out. Nice little 20-cent gain per contract. Boom. That's what I'm talking about. Quick little scalp there. Believe it or not, guys, we could still go lower. Yeah, Boyle's just a dog. Natural gas down 4.5%. I know. I'm down at I'm down on my Boyle trade, full disclosure. Getting hammered. But I still think that that trade is they're just doing weird shit to it right now. I mean, there was probably so many late chasers to the party that they're unwinding. There's probably still some people just trying to hold on for dear life at the highs, saying, "Please come back to me." You know, there's a lot of liquidity trapped between the 40 to 47 area. So much liquidity trapped there, massive amount of volume. They'll bounce this. I still think that Boyle can get a really sharp bounce back to probably 35 bucks or something like that. But look at that bounce. Whew, wow. Crazy bounce, guys. Crazy bounce. All right, I've made my money trading SPY today, guys. We crushed our SPX trading group. We issued a couple spread alerts that have printed. We took some 677 puts that went up over 160% gain. They were up over 220% if you held. We took some calls at the low there, all out of those now. Other than that, it's been a great session. A great session so far. The only thing that would make it better for my port is if natural gas can get its fat ass off the ground. But wow. The way energy is selling, guys. The way energy is selling, you don't see it fall this sharply in such a quick succession without some sort of demand destruction happening under the hood. Something really nasty is occurring. Nastiness. So your next shortable level on SPY is a retest. Oh, sorry, a retest of this opening range low. If you're a little bit more conservative, you wait for a retest of that Friday low pivot. I would personally wait for this Friday low pivot. But crazy day. Yeah, it's insane, right? It's insane. What's crazy is, I mean, I'm down what? Let me see what I am. 12% or so on my Boyle, which really isn't much for the levered ETF. I mean, 5% move for nat gas is really nothing. But we were short natural gas at the high there. We were long KOLD. And man, do I wish I still had my KOLD. Look at the bounce in your S&P. You know, we picked up KOLD down here, 2103 and 2032. And look at that move. I mean, oh my goodness gracious me. The unwind is incredible. All right, here's your OR low retest, guys. This is your shortable level coming up on SPY. But the moves, look at that move on UNG. Incredible, guys. It's absolutely EQT still hanging on to its daily 200. AR getting smoked. These are some stocks I love to trade. We've traded RRC down here numerous times. It's getting very intriguing to me once again. Yeah, crazy move on cold for sure. So your SPX did officially hit that 20-day moving average, and then it just missed the 50-day, but it pierced the 20-day like a hot knife, getting a nice bounce. So good job. Just be careful, this market is still somewhat bearish, guys. Although we're hitting big daily chart levels, we still haven't filled the gap down there. I feel like we still want to go there. We could still hit 676, guys, on SPY today. We could still hit 676 on SPY. Excuse me. Wow, nasty sell side wick on the indices there. Real nasty. This market is just downright dirty, guys. Downright dirty. We could still flush to the target is moving on SPY. It's now 675.80ish we could flush to. We're still going much, much lower in this tape. Even though there is some support here. Looks like the market's won another low of day. Just look at what keeps happening on the 10-minute chart of SPY. Close on the 10-minute candle. Lower low, lower close, lower close. What you want to see for a bit of a trend reversal, this is some education, you want to see your first 10-minute candle close to close higher than the previous 10-minute candle. Until you get that, you still have to lean bearish. So these 10-minute candles keep giving us lower and lower 10-minute candle close. They are just selling into the dip buyers with full force. I would take 677 calls again, but it needs to hit probably 676. They're still looking somewhat heavy here, ladies and gents. We still rolling hard. We still rolling hard. So, believe it or not, guys, what could happen today is a really big bounce, and then we could have a gap down tomorrow. So at some point today, we could see a massive move back up. Let me just look at something. And then we could see a big gap down tomorrow, trap more bulls in. So that previous candle got that bearish cross. Wow. Wow, Thursday is going to be interesting with CPI, guys. Thursday is going to be interesting with CPI. Be one more low of day and then a reversal up. That's what I'm analyzing here. One more low of day and then a bullish reversal. Let me just measure something real quick here. Take that low. Yeah, I think a Pierce of 676 might be on deck, guys. 676 puts off this next pop might work out well. I think 676 can hit. Yeah, there might be one more move down and then the big move up. And then tomorrow we might gap down, depending on how we close, but this might be the last shortable pop here. Thinking about getting into some Lotto 676 puts. Let me see here what they cost. 75 cents, 72 cents, pretty cheap. We're trying to push through opening range low again. Let's see what happens here. Big resistance at OR low and your Friday pivot low. Getting a nice buy program in the indices. Nice rejection so far off opening range low. See if we get one more flush to the downside. I think there might be one more move down and our big move up. For now, it's looking pretty positive with this bounce. But we're just backtesting opening range low. We'll see if they can get us through this zone. Still seeing the markets pulling back here off of opening range low. Nice decline so far, trying to come into the picture. Beautiful. Beautiful rejection. Boom, guys, I'm all out of my SPY 676 puts, all out. Beautiful gain there, guys. Beautiful rejection. Another winning trade in the SPX group. Beautiful rejection. Nice 50% gain. Beautiful, boom. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done unless we get some sort of a big move down. If we get a big move down to the lows, I would look for some calls, but that's pretty much now a little bit of a chop fest. I think we squeezed the S&P range pretty much here. Don't be surprised if we chop around now. Um, Especially on SPY, we are setting up here for a bit of a potential reversal here. I still would have liked to see one more test of the lows. You might get it, but the fact that you've had your 10-minute sell-offs, lower low, lower low, lower low closing basis, now you had your high, you got another higher high, you got another higher high close trying to build. So they're trying to save this market a little bit here. Trying to. So, but I'm still not interested in going long here. I would need to see a kind of a double bottom or sweep of the lows one more time. All right. Rocket Lab's getting dusted again. Natural gas still weak. CGC moving, guys. It's almost up. Almost up 13%. Can they get it to that $2 strike area? It's getting close. CGC. $2 is a big strike zone and a high pivot. Trading group, I did close my CGC $2 calls for January. I just closed them, guys, at the highs. Locking in 70% gain on CGC. IWM is still down 0.5%, so it's showing some considerable weakness compared to the market. And fill up there. It's quite a big move. It won't happen in a straight line, but it's certainly possible over a number of weeks. The stock has been obviously demolished, and you look at this massive move down, and it's been a crazy, crazy move. But the counter trend rallies in this stock, CMSA, is quite intense for sure. And you look at that drop. I mean, ultimately, I still think this stock needs to go to 12 bucks. But yeah, it's definitely doing a counter trend rally. Let's just see where this trend line would take us. Yeah, that trend line, you would be well within that target, 35 bucks, but I can't chase it here. I would need to see some sort of a pattern build here. If this were to back test a bull flag off the 50-day, I would look for it. But it's a tough one for me to get behind for now. All right, we're seeing yet again rejection on your S&P, guys. We might get that lower low retest. There's still that potential. Let me see what the target is now. It is a moving target that I have. You still have sell signals on your smaller time frames and your hourly and your 4-hour. Even your daily chart just gave us a sell signal. Your weekly chart is also giving us a sell signal now with this potential, but actually, so this is not a bad long area on SPY. As long as we hold 678.40, you can long SPY all the way back up to 681. So we're now chopping in between a little bit of a range here. Let me actually keep that on. So I just posted a chart in the S&P group, couple levels where I think we're chopping around of, some long levels, some short levels. If you're above your deviation 2, you should be longing it. If you're below it, you should be shorting it. So right now, but it's just a big chop fest in the market. Still got some sell signals though. All right, guys, I'm going to take a bit of a lunch break here. Again, great job if you're in the S&P 500 group. We absolutely crushed it today. But other than that, if there's any final questions, no problem, YS, no problem. Hopefully it helps. Any final questions? You guys want me to look at any quick tickers for a second? Feel free. Well, yeah, as long as you stay above that deviation 2 there, YS, you can long the market. If you trade below it, it's a short down to that deviation 3 band. There's still a good chance that we can head to that deviation 3, so just understand that. And that's kind of your weekly ranges. I don't suspect us going lower than that today. But just understand those are moving targets, so they change slightly based off of price consolidating and going a little bit lower. Your fun shorting, good stuff. Yeah, no problem, no problem. What else? A couple things to note, guys. You still have, in terms of your sectors, you got a lot of red out there, guys. And energy selling off like a recession. Financials are down sharply. Healthcare's down sharply. Your Russell's still getting hammered. No problem, Dom. No problem. We take a peek at some of these other trades. SMCI, guys, still super weak on the daily chart. Nasty. China names continue to come under pressure. Just no love for them yet, but a lot of support down here for names like JD into, again, a previous weekly gap fill. I'd like to see that level hold, potentially a double bottom forming. Baba's just been getting sold into, yet again, sweeping the lows. You got your IWM just getting liquidated here, guys. So notice how, so a couple things just to mention here. Notice how the S&P today kissed its 20-day. You've had the NASDAQ already trade into its 20-day and 50-day. Look where the IWM's 20-day is. 246 on the Russell. 246 on the Russell, guys. So, again, I am personally short the Russell 2000. Last Friday, December 12th, in our common share investing group, we went long TZA off the 668 level. So I think the Russell's going to retest its 20-day moving average, just like the S&P did, and just like the NASDAQ did. So that's my expectations for the. You're shorting everything? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad place to be right now. I'm going to end the YouTube stream. I'll be back for Power Hour. I'm going to keep the live trading group going on Telegram. So if you're in the SPX group, feel free to join. I will start up the YouTube live stream again, come for Power Hour, or maybe a little bit before Power Hour. But great job trading today. We crushed it in the S&P 500 group. Perfect. Group, we will keep that live and going. I like to just scan the markets as a whole throughout the course of the day, see any other observations. Okay. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in on YouTube. See you at Power Hour.